I'd like to say good morning to everybody, and I hope that you're having a beautiful day wherever you are. My name is Dylan White. I've been cultivating cannabis and marijuana for over a decade. My experience, I have cultivated over 500,000 square feet of greenhouse, 150 acres of outdoor field grown, and I've also managed 120,000 square feet of indoor boutique cannabis. The cannabis industry all starts with cultivation and growing. It is such a lovely part of the supply chain to be in. And like I said, I've been in this industry for over a decade. So let's talk a little bit about the different jobs in the cultivation side of the supply chain. The jobs consist of, on the lowest end of the spectrum, you start off with trimmers. Then you move up from a trimmer to a grower/grow technician. Then you have a grow manager, and then you have head of cultivation all the way at the highest end. I recommend, if you want to get into the cultivation side, to start at the lowest position. Start with trimming. This gives you an understanding on how the flower that we process or sell grows. You start seeing the symmetry of everything. So it gives you the hands-on. Start trimming. Trimmers generally make an hourly pay of ranging $14 to $20 an hour. Also, some owners will pay per pound. And so that's performance-based. So let's talk about grow technicians. Grow technicians, your job is to take a clone off a plant, propagate the plant, turn the clipping clone into a new baby plant. Those people in the part of the supply chain, they generally make around 40 to 70,000 a year. And that's base. Now, if we start talking about cultivation managers, their general pay is 50 to 80,000 a year. And they have a little bit more to do. They're doing production scheduling. They're making sure that the trimmers have product to grow. They're doing their standard operating practices. They're helping develop everything for the owners. And then at the highest level, you have cultivation director. They're orchestrating everything. And generally, that position pays around 85 to 100,000 a year. And that's where I'm at in my life, but I've had over a decade of experience. I started out with trimming. You want to start at the lowest end and work your way up. Yes, you might want to jump to cultivation manager, but you need to have the correct training. Also, I like to talk about different types of product that we're going to see. So I have experience, like I said, I had 150 acres in a field. So obviously that's really commercial production. All that flower went to processing for oil, distillate, to make edibles, cartridges, tinctures. Also, I have produced boutique flower in greenhouse and indoor. That's a little bit more hands-on, make a little bit more money. So you just have to decide, say, hey, do I want to work outside? Do I want to work in a building where it's a greenhouse, maybe mixed light, or do I want to be indoor? So these are all things that you must make your mind up. Growing is a great part of the industry. Without the plant, there's nothing to produce. So as growers and cultivation experts, we have to provide and produce. I've grown in different climates all over the world. So if there's any questions on climate or you're worried about your location, I've grown in humidity, high humidity, low humidity, cold, hot, anything. So is there any questions now at this time?
I have a question. Can you explain a little bit about the different types of cultivation areas? Like what, a little bit more about what each like operating or cultivation space would look like for a starting cultivator?
Okay, so there's three main areas of cultivation. Your outdoor, your mixed light, which is greenhouse with the natural sun and some artificial light. And then you have what's considered indoor, which is 100% artificial light. So let's touch on the first subject of outdoor production. This generally is what you see row crops grown. These are either raised beds in the ground, unless you have an area where the humidity is high and you can plant directly in the ground. So you have to do land preparation. It's basically farming, and that is a lot of outside work. You set the plant and you almost forget about it. And then that is also harvested by large combine machines, basically grown the same way as bell peppers or hay. So if you want to get into that, that's mass production. You know, you're going to be outside riding tractors, getting in the dirt. It's a lot of fun. Let's touch on the next one, which is considered mixed light, greenhouse. Greenhouse, you're going to be inside. There's going to be a lot of plants. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. You're going to constantly be taking clones, moving to the propagation area. That team's going to transfer them to a 1 gallon pot. That 1 gallon pot goes to a 3 gallon pot, and it gets put in its final position. And you're constantly revolving. So there's a lot of work. And if that's something that interests you and you want to be a part of all these different teams, greenhouse or indoor production is perfect for you. On the greenhouse, since you're not typically growing for oil production, it's more for the beautiful flowers, the buds that are grown. And if that's something that interests you, getting hands-on with the boutique flower, the aromas, all the flavors, then greenhouse and indoor production is something that you should sign up for. Indoor production is very, very clean, warehouse style, no natural sunlight in the building. Everything is through artificial lights. It has to be a very clean, sterile facility, because when you're inside, pathogens, mold, and pests grow at an accelerated rate, because when you're in a warehouse, you are creating the best environment every single day. So what happens is pest pressure is accelerated, and it's a lot of work, a lot of steps to be taken. There's a lot more pesticide that is sprayed. I'm always an advocate of oils or salts, no heavy pesticide, just taking preventative steps with your plants. And that's something that we'll teach on how to be preventative. Let's not cross the bridge when it happens. When we have all these pests, let's scout, walk the plants every day, take the checklist, and scout and be preventative with pests. So I would say, again, there's three main areas of cultivation: your outdoor field production, your greenhouse, and your indoor. Those are the three main. So any of those that interest you, please feel free to reach out and sign up. We'll be talking more in depth about each one of those, how to set up the style of growing to fit your needs, all the different things. Because again, outdoor production in a field, you're using plastic raised beds, lots of long lines of irrigation, or you're doing overhead irrigation, large farm style. Or if you're going greenhouse or indoor, it's very clean. Everyone has to have white suits on, name tags. So whichever interests you, we'll be getting in depth on every single topic. Just please let me know. Are there any other questions or interests or topics that I should touch on for you guys?
Yo tengo otra pregunta. La pregunta mía es, ¿cuántas horas es el horario de trabajo normalmente por semana?
Any questions in the live chat?
I had a question, which is, what's the hours like per week for a grower?
Okay, so on the different career types, trimmers, you're looking 9 to 5, normal Monday through Friday. When you get into grow technicians, you generally have multiple shifts, a daytime shift and a nighttime shift when it gets into greenhouse or indoor production. Because say if you're working in a facility where there are 20 to 40 individual rooms, sometimes those lights are on at nighttime and there will be a night crew. So say if you're busy during the day, but you still want to get into the cannabis industry, there are nighttime opportunities. There are grow technicians that work all night. So, and then if you get into the cultivation manager, you're going to want to be available for calls any time of the day, because as a cultivation manager, you're constantly putting out fires and solving problems. And that's why you make the most money, is because whenever there's an issue, you have to know exactly what to do. And that's what will help train people to know exactly how to handle situations. So I would say for anyone that would like to get into cannabis, there are opportunities for whichever your schedule is. So don't be scared and go out and tackle it, because like I said, the growing is the baseline of the rest of the supply chain. Without this beautiful product that us growers and cultivation managers produce, there would be no supply chain. So it's very important. And I've been doing it for over a decade and I'm still not tired of it. And I'm going to pass it on to my children. So it's, if you feel like you want to get into cultivation, sign up, get into it. There are different avenues you can go.
I have a question here in the chat for you, Dylan. One question is, what is the difference between hemp or I guess medical marijuana for cultivation purposes? I guess would be the question. So
Yes,
the difference
yes,
between cultivating the
definitely.
two.
So the standard on what makes medical marijuana and CBD hemp different is the amount of THC in the flower. Once you go below 0.02 on the THC, 0.02, and it becomes legally hemp after that threshold. So when you're growing for CBD, the product isn't worth as much money, so to speak. You have to grow more volume. So with growing more volume, you don't use the same fertilizers, but growing practices are very similar from medical marijuana to CBD hemp. So if you sign up to grow for CBD hemp, you will, by the end of the course, know how to grow marijuana also. So they're almost the same plant, but one has less THC. The hemp, you will not get a euphoric buzz. You won't get high from the hemp, but growing practices are pretty much the same. CBD hemp is generally grown in the field, like I was talking about, with tractors, 100 acres, as far as the eye can see, green plants, big buds. It's a lovely thing. If that interests you, working outside and being around heavy equipment and that's your kind of thing, then field production is right up your alley. If you want to go to a facility and have to put a white coat on with a name tag and boots, then warehouse, indoor, or greenhouse is perfect for you. But how to clone the plant, propagate it, transplant it, they're basically the same practices. Are there any other questions in the chat?
I have Marcos who sent he put in a message asking if this is job assistance or recruitment. Marco, could you help me to understand the question a little bit better? Feel free to unmute and ask the question.
Sure. Good morning, guys. Just wondering about the seminar. If you guys also, help with job placement, maybe.
That's a good question. The reason why we do what we're doing is to get you ready for the opportunity to be able to apply for those type of jobs. So there are many times in which there are conferences that have job fairs, and then there are companies that are outright asking for this type of work. I can tell you from experience that the cannabis industry is always looking for people to work in, especially people who are skilled and have this training. Maybe Dillion can speak a little bit more to the process of maybe finding a job in the cannabis industry as a grower. Thank you, Marcos.
Yes. So in every cannabis company, we are always looking for skilled growers. So say having participated in a program like Green Book, that saves me as the cultivation manager and time saying, hey, I don't have to train this guy on how to take a clone. He went to Green Book. He knows how to take a clone. He can also be more valuable to me. And that means you're going to receive more money on your salary. So as growers and grow technicians, companies are always hiring because you can never have enough good growers or enough good eyes in the field. You have to be aware of your surroundings. If you're someone that always notices stuff out and about, growing is a great career for you. And once you join a company, a lot of companies have different operating practices, but like I said, taking a clone, propagating the clone, producing flower is all the same process. There might be a couple tweaks. This head grower might say, hey, I like to use this fertilizer. This guy might like to use this fertilizer, which is okay. But at least Green Book Academy will give you the training that's needed. As soon as you come on site, you're ready to rock. You're ready to go. So there is no shortage on jobs for growers. Companies are always looking, and especially if you can get some training before you go get the job, that helps. There's nothing worse than someone saying they know what they can do, and then you show them and they have no idea. So Green Book is very helpful for people.
Thank you, Dylan. Appreciate that. Are there any more questions? Más preguntas? Dylan, is there anything that you think would be beneficial just for now for someone to know about the industry? Something
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Yes, of course, Ricardo. So to me, we just went through something in the world, this horrible pandemic. The cannabis industry has continued to grow through these hard times. That has showed me that this industry will be around at least the rest of my life onto my children's life. So don't be worried about, hey, I'm gonna switch careers. Is this something I want to do? Will this always be around? Cannabis industry will be around and it is here to stay. So I would love for people to join. Whenever I hear people saying, hey, I was studying to be a lawyer, but now I'm in the marijuana industry. I have a brother and sister actually with epilepsy. So that also pushed me to get into the cannabis industry and CBD. That's really how I started growing CBD, was to really help people. So if that's something, if you're a caring person, become a grower, because you're helping people in the world. So the cannabis industry is here and it's here to stay.
Excellent. Thank you, Dillion.
Of course. Is there any more questions from the chat? Nothing?
Final thoughts, anyone? A reminder that we will have a follow-up.
I have a
course.
question. What are the subjects that you will be covering on your course?
Okay. On my course,
Temas.
we're gonna start from the bottom. We're gonna start how to properly take a clone, how to propagate that clone, how to take a clipping off a plant and make beautiful white roots come out of it within 10 days. Then we're gonna go on different mediums, different substrates, soil, rock wool, vermiculite, whichever. There's gonna be different scenarios. So we're gonna cover everything. Pests, all the different kinds of pests, how to take samples, because every time we grow a crop, we're going to want to do testing for heavy metals, pesticide, THC percentages. So we'll teach about how to do samples. We're also going to teach how to make your own strains, which is something fun I love to do, because as growers, we constantly have to be evolving the genetics. And say if we're in South America, in Europe, the same genetic won't grow the same way as it does in South America as Europe. So if we can create a new genetic for that area, that's something fun. So that will also be in my course. Trimming, also the proper way on trimming will be in the course. Yeah, so I have a lot of fun subjects. Growing is fun. It's a happy place. You know, you're around a lot of plants. There's a good energy. So if you're a high energy person and want to be around other high energy people, sign up for the course for growing. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Fantastic. When can we expect the first course in cultivation?
So right now it's looking mid-February, maybe the 15th to the 25th of February. Look out for that, everybody. And I'm looking forward to meeting everybody and sharing this knowledge that you can take anywhere in the world with you. You know, knowledge is power. So everybody sign up and I'll be seeing you in the class.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dillion. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you for your input, for your knowledge. I look forward to taking the cultivation course myself, just to learn more. You can never not learn more about cultivating cannabis. It's something that is ever changing all the time. And that's the beauty of the industry, right? That it's always changing. It's never stays the same.
Never. There's always a new genetic that's better than it was 3 months ago.
Exactly.
So we will constantly be updating the growers course, adding knowledge, and I look forward to seeing everyone again.
Awesome. Thank you so much.